Okay, we got a piece of fan art on this one, and it's exactly how I feel. Help. Thank you, Riddle of Lightning. Guys, so we're not going to look at this footage because I know better. But footage has come out of the Israeli occupation's airstrikes on Rafah. So we may need a pin warning. Please know, is the background music fucking Billie Jean? Let's go ahead and read through this. This is going to be a hard one, guys. The brutal aftermath of relentless Israeli occupation airstrikes in Rafah Sunday night has left Palestinians in a harrowing state of despair as they search for friends and family among the debris. Heart-wrenching scenes unfold as they collect the tattered limbs and charred bodies of their loved ones from the rubble. Over the past 48 hours, more than 60 Israeli airstrikes using 900-kilogram bombs have pounded the Tal Sultan neighborhood in the southernmost city of Gaza. These tragic moments are being captured on video and shared widely online, exposing the world to the stark reality of the atrocities being committed and amplifying calls for immediate international intervention to halt the There's a burp that wasn't supposed to happen. To halt the violence and protect innocent civilians. Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 35 Palestinians and injured dozens more in Rafah, a city designated for displaced Palestinians fleeing from war. Now, hold the fuck on. So this is a city that is not designed, but designated as a safe place. This is the place that you're supposed to be able to go if you don't want any part in the conflict. This is a place you're supposed to be able to go to survive. And this is the place getting bombed. What the absolute horse fuck is going on there? So they've basically corralled a bunch of Palestinians into a designated safe zone and then just started murdering them. And then they go on record and be like, but it's not a genocide. It's not a genocide. You're anti-Semitic if you call it a genocide. Bitch, you're corralling them like animals and shooting them. Dropping bombs on them. Sorry. It's different. It's more explodey. Depraved Ambient says there's refugee camps there. It's not a refuge now. No, it's not. So, I have a question. How is anybody in Palestine at all supposed to believe any word at all that is given to them by the Israelis? The IDF comes down and tells them that, hey, go through this tunnel. It will be safe here. Kerpow, we're killing you. How are they supposed to feel safe here? How are you not radicalizing every single one of these civilians into enemies of Israel forever? How are you not actively creating the problem yourself? How are you not actively being the people who are creating more extremists who will grow up to try to kill you? Every single child who grows up in this environment is going to grow up hating the idea of Israel. And if you look at Netanyahu's history, this is, not a bug, it's a feature. It's a very, very simple feature. It's a very easy strategy. Have a decades-long, or, at this point, almost a century-long conflict with a group of people that you have corralled into an apartheid state. Take those people whom you have corralled into the apartheid state, who are growing to dislike you at the very least when conflicts keep arising over and over again. And every time there is a small uprising, instead of going, hey, maybe this should be your state and you can have it away from here, and we have a two-state solution that will work, instead of doing that, make the two-state solution such that any Palestinian that looks at it will go, what the fuck? You guys have half our citizenry, but you have 2/3 of the land. What the hell is going on here? No, we're not going to accept this. This is bullshit. take that and then run with the narrative that they didn't want a two-state solution. We tried to give them a two-state solution, and then proceed to continue the cycle of violence a bit more and a bit more until the only option left for these people is to be extreme. The only ideas they can have left in their head are either escape into another country, where they're not really breaking the cycle of violence, they're just kind of sidestepping it, or becoming part of the cycle of violence themselves, and then growing up to join Hamas and becoming extremists that want to kill all of the Jews. Extremism is not something that pops up out of nowhere. It festers for a reason, and when you coax it, which by all means is not the only way you make extremism, but in this case it happens a lot, if you coax extremism from people, you will get more extremists. That's what's happening here. Every child who survives the bombing of this refugee city, every one of them is going to want the utter dismantling of the Israeli state. Every single fucking one of them. Come 10 years from now, they are going to be standing up and speaking at the United Nations on behalf of their dead parents. And the UN's not going to do shit because they never fucking do shit. Many victims were transported to the Tal al-Satan clinic and nearby field hospitals along the coast. However, numerous individuals remain trapped under debris and flames. The international community has expressed outrage over the continued violence. The UN and various human rights organizations have condemned the airstrikes, calling for an immediate cessation of hostilities and urging for protection of civilians. And then it posts, there's a bit here saying, will Biden comment on beheaded babies now? In his initial remarks following October 7th, President Joe Biden mentioned stomach-turning reports of Israeli babies being killed and beheaded, with entire families slain. These comments have since come under scrutiny for spreading unverified information. The decision to include the unverified claim prompted backlash within the United States government. An internal memo, reportedly signed by 100 State Department and USAID employees, accused President Biden of spreading misinformation during his October 10th speech. The memo, as reported by Axios, was shared internally within the department. To date, President Biden has not retracted these statements, although his team did say that Biden never personally saw any images of beheaded babies. Contrastingly, the footage being released following the airstrikes in Rafah has produced horrifying and verified evidence of beheaded Palestinian babies. Just gonna sit on that one for a second. I can't offer anything for that one right there. Axo says, wasn't it also confirmed that the TikTok ban was being pushed now because it's so pro-Palestine? That is something that Mitt Romney basically confirmed, yes. And it was a piece of information I did not have when I did my initial video on the TikTok ban. I looked at the TikTok ban from the history of TikTok's usage and my distrust in general of the CCP. But in light of that recent information, I've basically come around on that. I'd rather not have TikTok banned because, as of right now, it is one of the fastest ways to get information about this kind of conflict out to people. If anything, it is an instant access point for that information. And while there are other instant access points for information like that, like Twitter, formerly known as X, and YouTube, TikTok is currently one of the larger, more dominant ones. I still would like all the security measures that need to be done to TikTok done so that things like the CCP grabbing information from it to hurt Hong Kong protesters can't happen again, but still, this is where we are. Axo says, TikTok is good at spreading news. The quality is what you got to worry about. Yeah, and I will still stick to my original statement of TikTok being a perfect cesspool breeding ground for misinformation as much as it is a breeding ground for quick information that is true. Splintered Orion says TikTok sucks, but it doesn't deserve to be banned. Not much more than any other social media anyway. Again, I would like to see better security measures put on the site so that its active spyware was not hurting people the way that it does, but I can understand that position a little better. It helps me understand the position when there isn't an idiot in the chat yelling at me about how I'm biased about something. Instead of calmly explaining their position, they instead decide to be an asshole about it. I have the type of personality where if you are an asshole to me for any amount of time, I will basically be an asshole to you for the rest of time solely because I think it is entertaining to do. My spite runs that deep. And you may think that that's a very childish thing to do, but no. That's not a thing I did when I was a child. That's a behavior I learned to do as an adult. Because fuck people. Anyways, going on here, Israel's assertion. Israeli occupation did not hold back in publicly rejecting the ICJ's ruling. The bombing, killing, and destruction intensified immediately after the session ended. The Israeli occupation government, led by Benjamin Netanyahu, swiftly denounced the court's decision and attacked it, citing religious statements that denigrate non-Jews. Minister of National Security Itamar Ben-Gvir responded, "Our future does not depend on what the Gentiles say, but rather on what we Jews do." Ah, I see. You learned fucking nothing from the Holocaust, and instead you're basically going and doing the whole "we are the superior people" yourselves. I understand now. Fuck everybody involved with the Israeli government. Every single one of you. That is not an anti-Semitic statement because I don't have a problem with Jewish people. I do, however, have a problem with people in power of any government that try to use their ethnicity or religion as a building block for a superiority. Why'd I get a warning? Is that an AFK warning here? Oh. AFK warning. Ha! I had no idea that was going to happen. New mods. Weird. But yeah, screw everybody who's in power who abuses it. That's basically what my take is there. According to Israeli Channel 12, Netanyahu stated that occupying Rafah and increasing military pressure on Hamas is the proper response to the court's decision, which he called anti-Semitic. The court saying don't murder civilians is apparently anti-Semitic. Netanyahu has basically decided that the tiptoeing around anti-Semitism that we do in modern society as a nod to the Holocaust, as a way to make sure that we do not engage in the same kinds of bigotries that led to the Holocaust happening. He decides, I guess, to take advantage of that. He's decided to just take advantage of that entirely and go, yes, I can put me being a Jew up as a shield now, and I can do everything the Nazis did. Dorito Dave says, "You're being anti-Semitic, therefore we will be bigoted against you" type of mentality. Yep. Red Joker says, we are failing horribly at learning from history. No, absolutely not. I think it's the opposite, Red Joker. So, look. There's not learning from history, which is a bad thing to do. And then there's looking at history and using it as a guide, which is what Netanyahu is doing. He's looking at what happened in Nazi Germany, and he's going, oh, interesting. So these are the steps I have to take. And he's doing them. The difference now between what happened in Nazi Germany, though, is that we don't have the benefit of an iron curtain you can hang behind. I recognize that was terminology used for a different country at the time, but the idea still stands the same. It's very hard to hide a majority of these atrocities in the modern age. But with those atrocities being shown out for what they are, it's very hard to keep support of your organization and your government when you are actively harming people. You're perpetuating the cycle of violence. You are letting it continue. You are being every single negative thing that should not be and yet somehow is. But that's as much as I can push on that particular one. Abalon says it's worse, actually. He's already said the Arabs convinced Hitler to commit the Holocaust. Oh, cool. So he's going full on, like, these people deserve to die because their skin's kind of brown. Because the brown-skinned people told Hitler to kill us. These people make me sick. Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie-chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.